This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Maddie Jansen. Another child in our community has been poisoned by the deadly drug fentanyl. Bakersfield police say last Friday they were called to the 800 block of Lake Street in East Bakersfield, just off Beale Street. Officers discovered a 9-month-old baby not breathing. The child was taken to a local hospital where emergency officials discovered the baby was suffering from a fentanyl overdose. The child was revived and is said to be stable. Meantime, 23-year-old Gabriella Cruz was arrested on suspicion of child cruelty, possession of a controlled substance for sales, and possession of narcotics paraphernalia. She's currently out on bail and has not been charged. Anyone with information regarding this case is encouraged to call the Bakersfield Police Department at 661-327-7111. This is the second baby poisoning in 1 week involving the deadly drug fentanyl. Last week, we learned that 2 parents were arrested when their 1-year-old baby boy overdosed. This incident happened January 15th on Kroll Way, just off Gosford Road in southwest Bakersfield. The baby was also taken to the hospital and said to be stable at last update. 20-year-olds John Lawson and Gabriella Goldberg were arrested but have not been charged. And now to new COVID-19 numbers out this morning, showing more than 6,900 new cases of the virus were diagnosed over the weekend countywide. Despite the spike, no new deaths were reported, and the number of those hospitalized with the virus dropped. 309 people are in local hospitals diagnosed with the virus. That's down 10 from yesterday, according to state data. 53 people are in local ICUs. Protesters from across the country marched on Washington yesterday, voicing their opposition to COVID vaccine mandates. Supporters say mandating vaccines is the only way to get life back to normal and to protect those most vulnerable. But a new NBC News poll shows that deep pessimism that may be hampering the vaccine effort. 7 in 10 Americans believe the country's on the wrong track, and 53% disapprove of President Biden's handling of COVID-19, his worst numbers yet. And just 45% say they're vaccinated and boosted. President Biden suffering yet another blow to his vaccine push on Friday. His vaccine mandate for federal workers blocked in court. Meantime, across the country, cases are plummeting in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, where Omicron may have peaked. But in the South and West, where Omicron hit later, cases are still surging and setting new records. Dr. Anthony Fauci said he's hopeful the rest of the country will soon see a turnaround, possibly by mid-February.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
World news now. President Biden taking action against Russian President Vladimir Putin as he appears to be making a move to invade Ukraine. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell has more.
This morning, President Biden weighing a new military operation to counter Vladimir Putin and bolster NATO allies in Europe. At Camp David Saturday, the president was briefed on potential U.S. troop and equipment movements to NATO countries in Eastern Europe. Administration officials say Defense Secretary Austin, on video conference, laid out options for the president to act before or after any Russian invasion of Ukraine. A decision could come within days.
We'll continue to build up the defense and deterrence that is necessary.
And a new warning. Americans in Ukraine ordered home, including families of embassy staff in Kyiv, and a voluntary departure for non-essential workers due to the continued threat of Russian military action.
Let there be no doubt at all that if Putin makes this choice, Russia will pay a heavy price.
Great Britain revealed its discovery of a brewing Russian plot to overthrow the democratically elected president of Ukraine and install a former Ukraine official close to Moscow. The U.S. called that deeply concerning and put Russia on notice.
There is going to be a swift, a severe and united response.
While Putin has moved more than 100,000 Russian troops to Ukraine's border, the U.S. has delivered $200 million of lethal military aid to Ukraine. And negotiations continue. Lawmakers say sanctions should not wait.
We do need to go ahead and impose sanctions on Russia now. We need to show them that we mean business.
NBC's Kelly O'Donnell reporting. Back here at home, making news around the state, nearly 300 firefighters are battling the Colorado fire near Big Sur. The fire broke out Friday night near Palo Colorado Canyon, just north of the famous Bixby Bridge. So far, 700 acres have been scorched and the fire is 35% contained. Nearby residents say the timing of this fire is a wake-up call.
For us, it makes us realize that we have to be vigilant year-round, not just in the summertime when we think of the greatest risk.
The fact that it's January and we're talking about Big Sur, an area in Monterey County that's supposed to be the area that gets the most rain during the winter months, and we're having a fire that's more than 1,000 acres, that's an issue and a cause for concern.
No injuries have been reported. A California judge has cleared the way for many of the state's repeat offenders to be released from prison early. It applies to inmates imprisoned under the state's 3 strikes law in an effort to reduce the prison population. The Sacramento judge lifted a previously imposed restraining order which blocked corrections officials from considering early release for prisoners with good conduct credits. The good conduct credits can now reduce their sentences by more than half. All prisoners being considered for early release are serving time at minimum security prisons and have multiple felony convictions for non-violent offenses. In your 17 Court Watch now, we could soon learn the fate of convicted murderer Jamie Osuna, with a judge scheduled to rule on his competency later today. Osuna has been serving a life prison term without parole for the torture and killing of Yvette Pena in Bakersfield. He pleaded not guilty in 2017 to first-degree murder and other charges filed in Pena's killing. Osuna was also accused of decapitating his cellmate in 2019. Today, a judge is set to determine whether Osuna is competent to stand trial in the 2019 case. We'll bring you the latest on that hearing tonight on 17 News at 5. And we took a deep dive into Osuna's life and the lives of his victims in our award-winning podcast, The Man with 1,000 Faces. You can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, and other sites. Just go to 1000facespodcast.com for more. 17 Crime Watch now. California Highway Patrol says it seized 90 pounds of marijuana near its headquarters in Buttonwillow. The exact location? Stockdale Highway and Stoner Drive. CHP says an officer noticed what looked like a street race just after 12:30 Saturday afternoon. And when officers pulled over one of those drivers, CHP says the car quite literally smelled suspicious, finding bags and bags of marijuana. A man in his 30s was cited and released for marijuana possession, expired registration, and vehicle violations. The identity of the driver has not been released. All right, welcome back in your Business Watch now. Get out your pencils and computer or just call your accountant because tax filing season begins today. Be aware that compared to the past 2 years, there are no filing extensions this year and all unemployment support is taxable this year, unlike last year where there were some special tax breaks. If you received funds from the child tax credit this year, you should expect a letter in the mail from the IRS to file it properly. Financial advisors would recommend filing early because delays are expected this year, in part due to an IRS worker shortage. The deadline to file is April 18th.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.